Hey, hope you can see me and hear me all right. Doing a quick live in the barn, as you can tell. Very exciting. If you're into that sort of thing, you might not be. You'd be like, who's this guy? Talking about buses? See ya. Right, so quickly live, guys, to discuss up and coming event and also to talk about the Wings bus, which made a fortune last night. Hello, peace for everybody, or everyone, sorry. Hello, how are you? And Luke's Loco says, hello, how are you? I'll try and do, Ollie D says, g'day, mate. Hi, Pete. Hey, guys. Hello, Yanis. Hello, Ollie. I'll try and keep an eye on the comments. I don't know, for those of you that have never done a live before, the comments go and they kind of disappear. So it can be sometimes tricky to read, okay? So I'll have a go and see if there's any questions, guys, you're more than welcome to ask them. And I shall try and answer all of them. I hope all of you are well. Just to cover, what I already covered in the last episode, I had an amazing time at the East Grinstead Bus Rally. It was so good. Really lovely to see everybody out. Just good all-round day. It's a shame that 1009 didn't make it, not all the way. That's why she's not here, because that's her spot. 1009 was going to be parked here. It's been overtaken by minis. Right, someone says, I saw you at East Grinstead Running Day. Yes, I most likely saw you too. Okay, so the event I'd like to cover, let's get down to business, is Penshurst Place, which is happening this weekend. Now, the weather forecast is not looking all that clever, but then the weather has changed about 18 times since I've looked at it. So normally I don't even look at it, I'm just gonna go. We're gonna go anyway. So the bus you see behind you, which will be in reverse because my phone, 2355, myself, and some staff members will be running the bar at the Weald of Kent Craft Fair at Penshurst Place. I have posted about it already. It's local to where I live, so it's an easy one for me. It's open to the public. I think you have to buy a ticket for admission. It's actually quite a good show anyway, so it might be worth you guys checking it out and coming to see us. And I'm going to say it now, anybody who wears a Pete and his Bus t-shirt on the day gets a free drink. Whoa, did I just say that? The t-shirts have sold out. The bar has been drunk dry. Or not. So you heard it here first. Anybody that's wearing a Pete and his Bus t-shirt and turns up at the Weald of Kent Craft Fair, you will get a free drink. Unreal. All right. Alec says he saw my bus at Twickenham the other night. That's correct. This bus was at Twickenham. There was a couple of you that went and saw it, and also a couple of you that were looking for me. I apologize. I wasn't actually there. I'm running multiple events at the moment. So as I have also mentioned before, I'm on tour with Harrods. Now Harrods, I'm going to do a social media post. I'm going to do a YouTube video and all of that after their tour is finished. Because obviously, as you can imagine, they're really strict on their social media, so they want to control it and they want to sort of control the narrative whilst the tour is on the road. But when it's done, I'll have collected all my footage and I'll do a video on that. We had the first outing at Lakeside this weekend. The Harrods bus is going to Milton Keynes this weekend coming, but I won't be with it. It's the weekend that I'm missing, but there are obviously 4 other dates. Chester, Gateshead, Edinburgh, and Glasgow. Yes, I can't believe I remember that. Chester, Gateshead, Edinburgh, and Glasgow. If any of you want to come and see me on that tour, you are more than welcome to. Actually, some people came and saw me at Lakeside. It was really, really lovely. A young boy, a couple of other guys, a couple, and also a friend of mine who always takes pictures of buses. Nigel, he was there too. So yeah, really lovely. I appreciate it massively, guys. So if you want to come and see me on the tour, it's Gateshead, Chester, Edinburgh, and Glasgow in the next 4 weeks. I did post about this before. If you go onto the last video, I think it was, I can't remember which video it is, the Harrods, the Harrods bus video, which I posted a couple of weeks ago. If you go on there, it gives you all the dates. But I will not be at the Milton Keynes one. Okay? Guys, whilst we're doing this, by the way, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to fire away. So, I've covered the first event, and now there is the Wings Over Europe tour bus. Now, I'll be completely, brutally honest. It went to auction some time ago, and it made 70 grand. And the owner, Tom, who's become a very good friend of mine, he, ice cold, he turned it down. And I thought it was very brave, if not a bit stupid. And so, 70,000 quid. But what is not been revealed yet, and what's not really commonly known, is that Tom actually spent £150,000 plus restoring it. So he thought, why would I take less than half? And come to think of it, of course, I agree with him, but it's just such a risky business. So, but then it went to auction with Car and Classic. And to be fair, we did Car and Classic, myself and a couple of other journalists did a load of promotion, as you know, which actually, I have to admit, I didn't get paid for. They just paid my expenses. So it's not like I was out there trying to earn a living. I just thought I'd help him. And also because of my sheer love for that bus. I just think it's great. So we did a load of promotion. The whole world had seen and or heard about it. And of course, it being shared on all my social media, and Car and Classic already have. They have a monstrous reach as it is. And ultimately, it had 250 there or thereabouts followers, of people that were watching it. And it got to £151,500 with 5 minutes to go. I'll be honest, I was in there too, bidding, because I thought, well, if it's going to be that cheap, then I'll have it for myself. But I was outbid very, very quickly. And the bidding went nuts. And it was just two people. And the final price was 186,000 quid before the commission. So usually you've got about 6,000 quid commission on top of that, which will have VAT on top of it as well. And there might be another few little charges and all that. So basically, by the time you're done, you're pretty much looking at 200 grand, which is really, really cool because, first of all, it gives Tom his money back. And a bit extra, and it's a win for the auction house. They take a massive risk. They spend a lot of money advertising these things. And when we made that film about it, there was like 7 or 8 staff there. One doing photography, the other one doing videos, the other one doing the interview, one of the salesmen. All these people, they all have to get paid. So for them to sell that vehicle with such an amazing price was just a massive success. So, and I was honored that I was a part of it, and I'm really glad. That the sale went ahead. Apparently, now don't take this as fact, but rumor has it that it's been bought by a German events company. But they don't know whether that company is going to take it to Germany or whether it's actually going to stay in the UK. So that's unanswered. It would be nice if it stayed in the UK because I would love to run into it again, and it'd also be really nice for it to go to events and shows so that people like yourselves who actually give a little bit of a shit about these things can go out and see it. So yeah, there was a few questions I saw, but they came and went. Here we go. So how is RM1009 after the East Grinstead bus day? You parked it at the owner's house. I certainly did park RM1009 at the owner's house, and he has spent yesterday working on it. He is quite mechanically minded. He checked the fuel filter, which was, to be fair, very dirty, and he checked another few things, and it hasn't solved the problem yet. In fact, he reckons the problem is worse. I am still convinced that it is dirt in the fuel tank, but if any of you out there know better, tell me. We'd love to know. So what happened with 2355, the bus in the background? Before I started doing YouTube, I was on my way to an event with ITV. It was supposed to make a live appearance on ITV, which would have been great promotion. And the bus didn't make it to the event. It's the one and only time I've not made a commitment. Now, there wasn't a huge amount of money involved. They were pretty much asking me to do it sort of free for the promotion, so there wasn't a huge exchange. There wasn't a huge loss of money or anything like that. But of course, it was really horrible to take your bus out and not get to the destination. It was one of the worst days. I actually, the same day, I also had a slight collision with it, with the transit van, when I got lost in some back roads. It was genuinely a day to forget. But all of this is before I started doing YouTube, hence there is no video on that. And I wouldn't want to watch that video because it was horrible. I think at one point I actually cried. So yeah, so the answer is 1009 sorted yet, not yet, but we will get that. We will get to the bottom of that, guys. It's not going to be a big deal. Also, 1009 is not being used commercially, so it's not like it has to go to an event in the next few days. So there's not masses of pressure to get it running, but we will 100% get it running again, and we'll be sure to do some more events so you guys can all join in. So more questions. Let's have a look. Just catching up here. Let's have a look. How was Compo after not being allowed in the beer factory? Yeah, Compo is still very pissed off with me. He is still not speaking to me. In fact, we can go and find him now if you want. Let's have a look. I think he's under his duvet. He's very pissed off. He was going to drink a load of beer and cause havoc in the brewery, and we don't appreciate things like that. We're respectful people here. Compo's arse. Yes, I smacked Compo's arse live on a YouTube stream. That happened, and you guys were a part of it. All right, okay, so the question is, where is Compo? Well, I think I've just answered that. Run to the sun in Newquay soon, pop down to Cornwall. That's a very kind invite, but Cornwall is quite far. Hi, Pete. When do you come to Scotland? Jim, I've just mentioned that, so... the Scottish dates on the Harrods tour are the last two of the dates. So I think it's the last weekend of May and the first weekend of June. Those are the weekends that I'm in Scotland. I think it's Edinburgh first and then Glasgow afterwards. But don't quote me on that. Look at the Harrods bus video that I posted up a couple of weeks ago, and near the end of it are all the dates and the actual tour map, okay? Any events that you know of in South Wales? I don't. I am probably, this is for Ian Morgan, I am doing a tour in another Route Master, and that is going to Cardiff, but I don't have dates for that yet. So, but all the events that I do that are actually accessible to the public, I will always mention them on Facebook and or on YouTube, okay? Right, some more questions. Let's have a look. Do you have a plan to come down to Cornwall with the bus? This is for Kernow? No, I don't at the moment. Also, driving that bus in Cornwall, God, can you think of anything worse? Right, some other questions. Route Master 70, Malcolm, yes, you mentioned it. Right, so Route Master 70. I have not booked either of my buses in for Route Master 70, and the reason for this is because I'm in the middle of negotiating an event which occurs on that same weekend, which I know is really annoying, but what you guys have got to remember, that Pete and his bus is not some, I'm not some lavish, moneyed playboy that just sits around playing with buses. It would be great, but I am not. And so in the summer, that bus has to go to work. It's how I earn my living. YouTube is great, and it opens opportunities, and it brings a publicity to what I am doing. But it does pay. I get paid for YouTube. I have a sponsorship every now and then, and I get money for the views. So every time you guys watch a video, you are effectively paying me a tiny little bit of money. But it doesn't pay for life in the UK, which, by the way, has become extremely expensive, as some of you might have noticed. So that bus is still very much my my livelihood, my income, and that bus is pretty much useless in the winter because, as you can imagine, outdoor bars, unless you're doing some Christmas fair, are not that popular. So that means I have to make money with my bus and the bar in the summer. And so I'm negotiating an event right now as we speak, which falls on the weekend of RM70. The Saturday I won't be able to make because she's out. There is a question about the Sunday. If I can make it, I will 100% be there. I love Route Masters, as you might have guessed. And I think RM70 will be a spectacular event. In case you guys hear a rumor, I did actually get offered the bar at RM70, which would have been great. But historically, this is me speaking from a business point of view, historically, bus events, especially when they're not in the main town centre, because it's not going to be, it's Chiswick, they are not good for bar. People, it's not a drinking thing. And sadly, it's a lot of effort and a lot of money to spend on stock and setup. So running an event, I'll spend £2,500 to £3,000 on stock. And then I'll probably spend 2-3 days preparing, doing the event. And then there's 2 to 3 days taking it all down, cleaning it all up. So one event is effectively the best part of a week's work. So the event has to be worth it for me. Otherwise, like the first year when I was in business, I spent a lot of time running around, but I didn't actually earn a living. So that's why I did get offered the bar gig at RM70, but I sadly had to turn it down because I've done events like that in the past, and they've actually ended up costing me a load of money. It's a very difficult thing to run live events because you have to gauge what the event is going to be like from what the person who's organizing it telling you. And of course, everybody who organizes the event is going to tell you, my event is great. And then, of course, you have to break that down and you've got to work out how many people, what kind of people, what age range. So yeah, so that's why I'm not running the bar at RM70, but I will, if I'm going to be there, it'll probably be the Sunday. And if I'm en route with my own bus, then I might actually turn up with my own bus, which will cause havoc because I won't have booked it in. But I might just have to book it in. I don't want to take someone's space. Okay, so that answers RM70. I will probably be there on the Sunday and not the Saturday. Let's have a look at some more questions. Why can't I see them? There they are. Right, there is a lot of you guys. I can't answer everything. Okay, let's have a look. Are you going to show bus in Buckinghamshire? No, I am not going to show bus. Sorry, guys. Thanks for taking the time to speak to us on a Saturday. Okay, Anthony, I must have spoken to you on Saturday. You're more than welcome, guys. I'm just a normal dude, and I like buses. I just happen to run a YouTube channel, and if ever any of you approach me on an event, I will always, and I say this now, always take the time to speak to anybody that's got something nice to say. If they're negative, then they'll get one of these sort of about there. Actually, no, I won't do that. No, I won't. Compo will, though, and you know it. Right, greetings from Holland, Marco. Marco, hoe gaat het? Goedenavond. Het is niet meer middag, avond. I am Dutch, for those of you guys that didn't realize that. Do you think you'll be attending this year Alton Rally, seeing as it's not a huge trip for you? I probably won't, and the reason why I don't do the bus events is because they all go on summer weekends, which what I've just explained, my bus is out for events, so yeah, that's kind of difficult. Luke asks, have you damaged the bus while driving aside from Mr. Rock with damage the first bus in episode 1? Oh, yes. I have had damage on my buses. So obviously, for those of you that watched from episode 1, 2730, I drove past a rock when the first time I moved it from its spot. And I mentioned earlier, coincidentally, I did have an accident with a transit van in central London. The guy who drove into it, he was a very nice man, and he felt it was my fault. I'm not so sure, I'm massive and red, you've driven into me. We decided to arrange it amicably. I repaired his van and we split the cost, but there is damage on my bus, and it's there. It's been on there for a very, very long time, and I have toyed with fixing it so many times, but I'm always too busy doing other things, and it doesn't look that bad. The other problem you've got with red buses as well is the fact that the red fades, and if you start repainting them, the red's completely different. That is a whole nother issue. So when I paint a red bus, I tend to do the whole thing rather than just bits. Okay? Okay, all right. Any more questions, guys? Because I haven't got all that much time. Greetings from St. Helens. Hello, how are you? Lovely Arriva buses here. That's right, they are. Okay, Marco, I got your answer in Dutch. Okay, cool. He's watching all the episodes with his dad because his dad's an old mechanic. That's excellent. I have a 1968 Bedford Val Chinese 6 converted to a motorhome. Excellent mixed onions. That sounds like a really cool thing. Gerard Constable says, Goedenavond Peter. En ik zeg, Goedenavond meneer, hoe gaat het met u? Have you heard anything on the bus that was sat in the field? Yes. So, guys, the bus in the field. I get this question a lot because it was the most viewed episode on my channel when we got it running. It had over 200,000 views, apart from some TikToks that have done like millions. That video, as in long content on YouTube, was the most popular video on my channel. If I could create a video like that every time, I would. But it's just not that often that you find a bus that's been in the field for 30 years. So where were we? We got it running. We drove it out of the field. To get it onto the owner's driveway, we had to trim some trees back because it wouldn't go. But of course, Lord Barrington's very busy. I've also had other stuff going on. So we left and we presumed that they were going to do that. But life is getting in the way again and they've not managed to move it. So ironically, they've put it back in the field. So for those of you that drive past and see it, that explains why it is. It's in a different spot, but it is in the field. But the plan is, and this is going to happen, the owner is in America at the moment, but I spoke to him recently. The plan is that the bus in the field is actually coming to my barn. Those plans are already in motion. It's going to take a spot behind RM1009. And it'll just make it, first of all, it'll preserve it better, and it'll make it so much easier for Lord Barrington and or myself to do work on it. So that's the plan. But to get the owner, me, and Lord Barrington in the same place is extremely difficult. And I'm going to call him out here, but it's actually mostly due to Lord Barrington, because he's a nightmare to get hold of. If you're watching, dude, sort it out. And I love him dearly, by the way. I would consider him one of my best friends, but he's very, very difficult to get that man in a location to work. So that's what we're up against. But as soon as Lord Barrington sorts out a few issues with the bus, we can either drive it here, or I think low loading is going to be the best possible option. And I spoke to a few people recently that are in that game, and one of them is very willing to help us for a not too ridiculous price to get, because low loading stuff is really expensive, to get the bus from the field. So it's RM843, I think it is. I might have got that wrong. There is many. To get the the TV bus, the Bravo bus, to get that in the barn. That is going to happen. It's already done. It's a done deal. It's just the timings of it, and yeah. So there you go. All right. So that was a good question. I'm going to go through some more questions, guys. Has anyone said to you, you look like Alexis Conran? I don't know who that is, but he is obviously very lucky. Okay, next one. Good to see the old bus is still on the road. Thank you very much. How's the other bus coming along? Lee Bryant, you're obviously referring to RM 2730. Anything that happens on that bus, I will always share on a video. So at the moment, we are on the lights. They are working well. They're all sitting in situ nice. The next episode will probably feature me finishing all the paintwork in the downstairs. Okay, Richard King Brown says, nice to see you at East Green. Said, thank you, Richard, for coming down. Such a great day out. This is someone talking about Imberbus. I've already said I'm not going to Imberbus. Cheers, Pete. Looking forward to another video. Thank you, Kelly. All right, Pete. Greetings from St. Helens. We have a lovely Arriva buses. That's right. Okay, cool. I think I've covered those questions. Let's go down a bit there. Is there ever going to be a NBFL in the fleet? I don't think so. I'm fairly set on Route Masters. What happened to that Route Master in Scotland? Good question. That's coming from Peace for Everyone. What happened to the Route Master in Scotland? So I actually have the same problem, because I'm relying on Lord Barrington, because the people in Scotland, they're super, super lovely. That family is a customer of Lord Barrington. So I didn't arrange that deal. That was all his doing. But he just invited me to come along and film it. So the bus, Lord Barrington's been back there since we filmed. And he's done a load of work to the point where it's now actually drivable. He did fluids and he did a bunch of other stuff. So again, the plan is for us two to go back there, and I will definitely keep you updated and film and show you how they're getting on with it. But again, I am waiting for a certain lord to pull his big finger out of his bottom to organize that. So yeah, and that's the way it goes. I've got someone asking me if I'm going to RM70. Guys, I've already answered that question, so you might want to check through the questions. I am possibly going to RM70, but it'll be the Sunday, not the Saturday. So there's still quite a lot of you on here live. So I've got a quick question here. Mark says, Pete, are you coming to Hastings for an event soon? Guys, I'm going to repeat myself. If I am going to go to a particular town and it's open to the public, then I will always post it on social media and on YouTube, okay? So I know that there's probably quite a lot of you that don't do Facebook, which I understand, that's fine. I actually personally don't really do Facebook either, but my page on Facebook is really active. 40,000 followers, and I'm posting on there at least once, twice, 3, 4 times a week. And so event updates are always on Facebook, and then I put them in a video. But sometimes it takes me longer to get a video together for YouTube, because it's a lot of work. So that's why Facebook is probably the best for event updates, okay? Right, so where were we? I'm gonna do a quick recap. I've got a lot of questions coming in. Chatting continuously for so long shows how much of a natural talent you are. Big up. Well, that's very kind of you to say. I remember last time I did a live, I was like, wow, I need a glass of water. Okay, again, guys, you're all asking me if I'm doing something in Yorkshire, if I'm doing something in Hastings. If I am doing an event in your town, it will be on the Facebook page, or I will mention it on a YouTube video, okay? Guys, just please hear that and take it in your mind and remember it. Okay, would it be possible to fit a Scania V8 engine in a Routemaster? And that is from Oscarville Heritage Railway official. I think the width would be a problem. I'm sure it is possible. Should we have a look at an engine bay, guys? I'm sure it is possible, but there is limited amount of room. So, as you can tell, this is the Cummins C series, and from exhaust port to ancillaries, pump, power steering, and all that, there is not much room left. I mean, granted, there's a fair bit of space here, but I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it does slope. So you'd have to get the block in high enough for the V to poke out. I'm sure someone somewhere has done it, but your biggest issue with that modification would simply be that your engine would rip apart the running gear. So, the Cummins engine that's in my bus, the 8.3 C series engine, they actually had to down tune that so that it doesn't tear the running gear apart, because the running gear on a Routemaster is only really good for like 120, 130 brake horsepower. Obviously, monstrous amount of torque. And so, yeah, so that's why that would be your biggest problem. You'd probably have to go all different running gear again. So you would basically be ruining a bus. It's simple. Yeah, of course you can do it, but you'd have to ruin it. Mark says goodbye. Goodbye, Mark. So Lexi says, I love your videos. Lexi, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoy them. It's comments like that spur me on to do more. Let's have a look. There's a Routemaster sitting in a garden centre in your screen. Yes, I have featured that on the channel. I'm well aware of it. Thanks. Richard King says, nice to see RM1008. It's actually RM1009, Richard. Please get your numbers correct. Or maybe you were just testing me and I just passed. Nice. Okay. Let's have a look. You doing anything in Yorkshire, Pete? Lee, I just said, if I was, you'd know about it. Right. Okay, so I think that's it. Pete, are you coming to Hastings? I just said, if I did, and if I was, you'd know about it. Do you know any Wings songs by the Beatles? Or do you like any Wings songs? I do. I do like the Wings. I think they're great. I love the Beatles as well. As a child, I listened to the Beatles. Mind you, I wasn't around when the Beatles were in their heyday. I was listening to them on like cassettes and sort of mixed tapes. And actually, I have CDs of like their greatest hits. So yeah, I know I was really into the Beatles. I've got a very much a musical background. Both my parents are musicians. I went to the Academy of Music. I played drums and bass guitar. So yeah, I've always really been into Beatles. I think they're great. But I also love classic cars and also buses. Let's have a look. Marco, that's very kind of you to say. You are a genuine guy. Big example for many YouTubers. Make the channel great. That's a very, very kind of you to say, mate. And pretty much no frills. The channel is what it is. Let's have a look. What else? The bus's name on the bus. What is the bus's name of the bus you brought from the farmer? I haven't bought a bus from a farmer. So I don't know, Mark. Mark Chatfield, what is the bus's name? Name of the bus that you bought from a farmer? I don't know which one you mean. Sorry, mate. Luke's Loco says, would you have a Rover SD1? I would, but it would have to be either a twin plenum one, so the high spec, or I'd have a lower spec one as well, because they've all got V8s, they're great, but it would have to be in that baby vomit green color that they do, which is really, really excellent. There was one at Rustival. Someone just asked me whether I am buying the Wings tour bus. Well, I think it's a bit too late for that, and I think we will all agree that it was slightly out of my price range. So on that note, guys, because I've got too many questions coming in to actually answer, I'm going to quickly recap this weekend. So you're all asking if I'm doing events. I'm telling you I'm doing an event. This weekend, I will be at the Penshurst craft fair. It's called the Weald of Kent Craft Fair. I will be there Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, because it's a bank holiday. The weather is looking pretty average, and I've put it out there. If any of you turn up with a Pete in his Bus t-shirt on, you will get a free drink. And a high five, maybe, if you're lucky. Okay, so that's that. And then the Wings bus, I'm going to cover it one more time for those of you that missed a post, or I will cover it in a video as well. So the Wings bus, I've been working on for a long time now to get the thing properly advertised. In a previous auction, about 4 or 5 months ago, it did 70 grand, but the owner turned it down. I thought he was crazy. My predictions for the Wings tour bus was £80,000. And it's silly when I say it now because it went slightly over, but I will always be honest, that was my prediction. I said it won't do more than 80. It did up to £51,500 till 5 minutes before the auction, and I was part of the bidding at that point. I didn't bid 50,000. The reserve was at 50. It went. It then sat at £151,500 for all of those 5 or 10 minutes. And at the last second, it shot through the sky and the bus officially sold for 186,000 quid. And of course, there's commissions on top of that. So that's the bones of 200 grand. And I'm over the moon. And the reason is because that vehicle in the previous auction, it wasn't being recognized for what it is. John Lennon's Rolls Royce sold to a museum for $8-point-something million. The Mini, George Harrison's Mini, is still owned by the family. I would not be surprised if that made millions were it to ever come to sale for sale to the public. Now, I know Wings and Beatles are different, but there is no Beatles Paul McCartney vehicle. The only thing there is this tour bus. So I actually think whoever bought it, they got a bargain. Of course, you've got to remember that the people who were involved with the Beatles and the people who were alive and around whilst the Beatles were in their heyday, they are a bit older now. They might not have the spending power as they used to, and some of them sadly will have passed away because it's a long time ago now. But I was really pleased. Pleased for Car and Classic because they've been really cool to deal with. Pleased for myself because I put a lot of effort into trying to help my friend Tom sell that bus, and we did it. And I'm really pleased for Tom. Tom actually got a bit of criticism at one stage because he was begging and asking people for parts for his bus, and they generously gave them to him. And then apparently people were like, oh yeah, now he's just going to flog it. Which I can understand. If you're that person, that would maybe offend you slightly. But the point is that bus is restored and it exists. That's the most important thing. It's not in a ravine in Tenerife where it was for 24 years. So the win is that this vehicle exists and it can be seen, touched, smelled, and heard. And on that note, guys, I'm going to wish you all a lovely, lovely evening. Thank you very much for logging on if you have. A really quick reminder, I will be at the Penshurst Place this weekend for the Weald of Kent Craft Fair. We will be there on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I think tickets are about 10 quid, and if you're wearing a Pete and his Bus shirt, you get a free drink from the bar. If I'm really busy, I might not be able to talk to you, but the weather's not looking that great, so I'll probably have loads of time. All right? And that's all I've got time for. Matt has just asked, when are you doing the lights upstairs? The reason why he's asked that, because he'll be fitting them. Yeah, nice try, mate. John Leslie has just said, free Nelson Mandela. I think you need to check your head because he is free. And Matty says, have a nice evening in Dutch. Fijne avond. And I say the same to you, sir. Guys, thank you all very much for tuning in. That's me done. Hopefully, I'll see lots of you at the craft fair this weekend. Bye-bye, dudes. Compost says, I hate you. I don't know why.